Okay, 59, we're close enough. Call to order the meeting of the Shelby County Board of Supervisors on Tuesday, December 7th. Any conflict of interest, gentlemen?
No. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, motion by Steve, second by Charlie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of minutes from November 30th.
I don't think Mark had any changes. He brought up to you. Did he?
No, and there wasn't any there.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Charlie, second by Steve, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of claims. Didn't see anything out of the ordinary in there, you guys?
I just had a quick, Brandon, rock, we still gonna keep getting that in, you think?
We're slowing down now.
Okay.
Probably about done for till spring.
Had a
Stockpiles
nice
are
fall
all full.
for it.
What's that?
Had a nice fall for it.
It was really nice to get
I
everything.
just see there's quite a bit on it.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Charlie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. He's got any reports?
No, I don't have any at this time.
Charlie?
Did you get Bryce's email about, the drop low on our mod factor?
Yeah, we knew that, yeah. Mark mentioned that to us at that.
Okay,
That's,
that's money in the bank?
yeah, no, it's, doesn't really
Did they go
look-
down to 0.7?
Yeah.
Wow.
which is, I think the lowest you can go is what, 0.68 or something,
Yeah.
if I remember right, but yeah, doing really
Okay.
well, which we had those couple bad years which raised it to
Yes,
above.
they didn't, you're doing a good job.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have any reports either, so let's just move on to it.
Well, I do have one update.
Okay, yes.
The Heartland Family Health is working on that proposal we talked about, and it sounds like they're gonna go with, we will put in a nursing station and then charge them accordingly. So Mark can move on with that bid process.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say, possibly our next meeting, we could have that final proposal to us.
Okay.
Okay.
Still looking at 2-year
Yes.
lease.
Yep, everything can be the same.
Okay. Let's move on to Darren Gosshorn. He's gonna
And like,
ask for some money.
come right up here, the hot seat.
We're asking for money.
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know what you guys got.
I have my
You got a
old
list
ones,
here, or
yes.
else I have a copy of what you guys,
Yeah, I got it
you
here.
got it right there.
Got it.
Darren represents Shelby County
Yep.
Fair Board.
With the Fair
Sorry about
Board
that.
President, just wanted to get in front of you guys, get ahead of it. Potentially
You sit
asking
down.
for some ARPA funds for the fairgrounds. Looking at potential projects, running it through some potential ARPA funding, hopefully. The list in front of you, it's kind of a wish list, I would say, but there are a couple items there that we would consider at the top of the list, potentially.
Got 5 things
A
listed.
new restroom, camper hookups, water line, non-portable well.
So you're saying these are in this priority?
Well, it should be 1 and 3 are, the well and the restroom are number 1 and 2,
Okay.
is what I would say is our
1
top
and 2?
priorities. Yep,
Restroom 1 or?
restroom 1, well 2.
Okay. Okay.
The restroom project, be handicap accessible, it's gonna go, if you know the fairgrounds are all down by the southeast corner of the cattle barn, in between that and the horse arena,
Okay.
on some green space down there, so. Not a huge facility, but something that, for that west end of the fairgrounds could utilize a lot more OBR, and tie it in with the campsite dump, plumbing to the south sewer main, and water access there as well. So, in the well project, there has never been a well at the fairgrounds. Some people have told us there was at one time, but there is not. And the only reason we're looking into it is just for the emergency water potentially, but this would be a non-potable well. This is not public, it's a private
Okay.
well.
It would just be for animal use.
Yeah, absolutely no public consumption, but the main portion of what we're looking at potentially is with the racetrack. The racetrack actually uses a very high percentage of the water down there,
So I've heard.
just for the maintenance of the track on a weekly basis. and that bill gets pretty high through, that's all HMU. So, I mean, we're just trying to, and we haven't obviously dug the well yet, but I don't think finding water is gonna be a problem down there.
Okay, I was gonna say, you gained preliminary results at all?
Not yet, but we've reached out and, as of right now, we're looking at towards the west end of the track. Or, yeah, excuse me, yeah, the west end by the Quonsets down in that area down there, if
Okay.
anyone's familiar with that, so. But those are, in a nutshell, kind of what we're looking at, and by no means, this, like I said, it's a wish list, kind of, and we're always looking to do some improvements down there and continue to upgrade the infrastructure, and we want to make it look nice and be usable for the whole county, and our goal is to continue to do, not just fair events, but schedule stuff that open class livestock shows, anything that we can think of down there that can be good for the county as a whole as well, so. And I think there's, that venue in the past, I would say, I mean, it needs to get used more than it does, to be quite honest with you, other than just a race every Saturday night and a fair in July, so. That's our goal, and hopefully that can continue to bring more people. I mean, if you have more stuff, hopefully we can bring stuff to more people to the community.
Camping has gotten very big. Do you, I mean, you say nothing else goes on down there, but do you have a lot of campers down there throughout the year?
Yeah, throughout the year. Like the Tiny Lawn Racing down there was 25, 30 campers during that weekend.
Okay.
During the fair, there's 40, and they're used up. And that's one of the proposals on number 2 here was the potential, another line on our property, you know where the cell phone tower's at, straight south of that, across from the existing line there. So that, you know, hopefully there's a few other things in the works here potentially at the fairgrounds. Nothing's concrete about potentially changing the configuration of the racetrack as well. So that's a pretty good sized project, and we just got to figure out how to, timelines and finances and all that stuff, how that all plays together, but.
And the reason for changing it is to try to more or less get it up with what's going on
Well,
out there.
there's enough, and I'm not the race guru by no means, but there's enough people that are in the racing community that, that track in Harlan is probably one of the biggest tracks in the state of Iowa. And one of the biggest concerns, it's sanctioned, it's grandfathered in. If it wasn't grandfathered in, they couldn't even hardly get insurance on that track, because people like to watch cars go fast, but those cars are going really fast. And the problem with that, it's hard to maintain the car. I mean, the motors blow up all the time, we hear that all the time. It's just too much speed, too many RPMs. When you wreck, you're gonna be out for a long time.
So when you say the biggest track, are you talking the length of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you, I mean, ideally you would be shortened up.
Downsize that. It's right about a 5/8 mile track now, but they're talk about downsizing that track to about a third, considerably smaller. It'd be like a little bull ring with high banking. I mean, we could make it awfully fun to go watch a race down there. And that's always been kind of the complaint sometimes about that big track. I mean, it's good racing for a couple laps, and by the time you figure out who's the top dog out there, and it's just a trail the leader here for about 12, 15, 20 laps. And, I mean, we're just in the process of trying to figure out if this is the route we want to go. And that's,
So how does that, county owns that racetrack?
The grounds.
grounds.
We own the grounds and lease it to them, or?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a lease through the fair board.
So it's our responsibility to do any,
No, it's fair boards.
yeah.
It's the fair
They
boards.
manage it.
We manage it, and it's the fair boards. We just gotta, so, but that's, and more, the wish list is on the backside, on the, you know, you get into number 4 on the track improvements, and that's, if we do change the configuration of the track, we gotta move lighting, we gotta move plumbing, water, all those kind of good things.
Right.
That's, gets expensive.
Do you have any other avenues as far as grants?
So I was gonna ask,
Yep, we're,
away from the 2 priorities.
yeah, and I think that's, and I've been working with Todd at the chamber with them folks, Iowa West, there's a Peter Kiewit Foundation grants. It's amazing, you go on the website, you start looking, there's all kinds of grants. It's just a matter of applying.
The hoops you want to run through?
Yeah, and but some of them we don't qualify completely. We found that out, just the red tape and that's involved with some of that stuff. I don't know if it's worth our time to actually do it, so.
You had,
Well, I was just gonna say, a couple of things that we've run into is, even though the facilities are located within the city limits of Harlan, because it's the Shelby County Fairgrounds and it's the Shelby County Speedway, we would have to do a income study for the entire county to be able to qualify for some of these things. And if we did that income study, we would not qualify. The other thing that as we're moving forward, it'd be nice, that Darren may need to come back and talk to you about is, not that he would use ARPA dollars to fund an entire project, but he may need a match for a grant. So it might be like a 25-75 or something like that, to where he needs a little help with the match to get the full grant.
So
And that happens with Iowa West, as you know.
do all of these kind of fall under what you'd be applying for, or just a couple of them more than others fall
The way I understand it,
under guidelines?
the application form here and talking to Mark,
No, I'm talking about your other grants that you're looking at.
I think as far as
You think they would all?
infrastructure and capital improvements, and until you actually get into it, I mean, some of them you gotta put an inquiry,
Yeah.
find out if you actually do qualify and what their stipulations are, but that's,
what do you think, without backing yourself into a wall, when you might have an idea of when some of these grants could be fruitful?
I think Iowa West was, if you apply by the first of the year, you'll know by March.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got a quarterly system, I think, how they do theirs. And
Okay.
I guess my question would be if we say, okay, I'd like to at least fund your first two priority projects. And like you say, if you put in for a grant and they get a certain amount of money for that, they don't need everything that we've okayed you for, then maybe we could go into another, or
Or they could go on the other three.
right,
Yeah.
right.
it's timing, right?
Yeah.
I want to know from you and the Fair Board, I know you have the two priorities, but is these things you would like to get done before the next fair?
Yes,
Okay.
we would.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And I
think,
don't blame you.
and I think the fair this year is the 10th through the 18th of July.
Okay.
And if we find some things out on some other grants by March, April, May, I mean, we're not talking like the rest of them. It's not a huge building or anything. It's not gonna be,
Right.
it's just getting all your ducks in a row and the plumbers and everything lined up. But I mean, I think it can be done.
How much do
See,
we?
because the way we have it structured is, and as I was looking at this, I don't know if you would qualify under, you're either gonna qualify under number 4 or 5, either county infrastructure and department services or business or community outreach. So those apply January through June. Yeah, January through June, and then we would select from that for our 355,000. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm willing to, because of the urgency here, to look at funding one or two of your priorities. Without putting Gene on the spot, I know you can't say, but would you be interested in going to your council and splitting the difference with the well part? I mean, because of the city water shortage, it's one of the reasons we're talking about this, if they would be willing to use some of their ARPA money to work together with us.
Anything's worth looking at.
Okay. That'd be great. We could do some kind of partnership. I think, because that one's what,
And I don't know if it'd be city specifically or if we're looking at
25.
water related to HMU, maybe HMU's participation as well.
yeah.
What kind of well are you looking at getting there? Something that will, I mean, how much would it supply? Would it,
Basically 7 to 10 gallon a minute.
oh, so not very much.
Not a huge, because
They don't have to be.
It doesn't have to be though.
Because they're having a storage tank.
We're gonna have a storage tank right next to it. I mean, we don't need massive flow here.
But do they use like the water trucks that they use on the racetrack? Do they need to fill those up from this?
Yes,
I mean,
that's the plan here. they would
That'd
water.
take a long time to fill up a truck, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it is on a big track, but if we downsize it almost half, it changes everything. So that's,
I mean, because I could see, like you say, where that would save you a bunch of money if you could just use that even, but you say you're not gonna use it for potable water or anything,
No.
but if you used it for that from here on out.
like last year, you know, we borrowed some storage tanks during the fair. And obviously, we don't have the livestock numbers we used to back in the day when we were all showing at the fair and that, but, you know, we put them tanks down at the cattle wash racks, and they used them out of the water out of the tanks at the time water was an issue in town last summer, so it worked great. You know, we had enough storage there, I mean, it made it work, and they could wash the calves and all that, so it worked out great, but just something that we're trying to be a little more self-sufficient, I guess, if we have to be, so.
Well, I come in here thinking that I would be in favor of your two priorities, and I'm looking here, even if we threw in your camper hookups, which would make sense because it's kind of in conjunction with the well, or the restroom build out. I mean, and that totals up to about $100,000, maybe a little bit over. I mean, do you think that's too much to designate for them at this point, or is that?
I don't know. Because I was kind of thinking doing the 58, so you can get started with the restroom, and do half of the well, see if you can get through the city or some other money.
And until we know about the other grants, I mean, I totally.
And then what about
okay
if
with that.
what if the camper hookup, something we look at, say in March?
Well, and that, I guess what I'm looking at is, I would think
Or
it'd
maybe you
be,
won't have enough time, I don't know.
I think there's time. It's not, we're not talking 50 hookups, I mean, we're just talking.
as far as the plumbing that goes on those two, they would be in conjunction with each other.
Yes. Yep.
That's where I was,
The plumbing portion is basically, from the restroom, we're gonna cut south to the main sewer line,
right,
and the water line would go in that same direction. I mean, as of right now, they're just hookups. What we wanna do is put another 10 to 12 hydrants along that line for those camper hooks, and make it a full,
and the dumps, do
would be
they,
part of the
do
new.
they dump right there where they
Yeah,
are
it'd be part
parked
of-
right now?
No, there is no. there is
Okay,
no
so
camper, no.
they can't, okay.
There is none, that's
And
what.
you're not, are you gonna do that?
That's would be part of the restroom project,
Okay.
if you look at the back.
Now, okay, just a minute, Darren. Are you gonna just put in a dump station, or are you gonna make it so when they park, they got a place to put their hose in and dump right there where they have
can't.
station?
They gotta, well, as soon as they hook up and leave, they can pull up to this spot.
Okay.
Yeah, they can't just right
But they-
there.
okay.
No, that's a whole different
That's,
level
right.
of camping.
Okay. Okay. Well, motion on anything, or?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 58,000 for the restroom construction. Okay, and half of the well, which would be 1250, or 12,500 of the 25. And then, also that you come back in March and see where you're at for number 2. That way you could focus on the racetrack improvements, number 4, and the horse arena bleachers and cement pads for other funding. Because those two, I would honestly say, might be a little iffy on ARPA funds anyway.
Yep.
So,
Yep, and then we'll keep applying and see what we get done, so.
okay,
I would second that motion.
okay. Then you can report back to us.
Yep.
Then, and we'll go from there.
Sounds great.
That Darren?
Vote on it.
Okay. Got a motion by Steve to fund the restroom construction and part of
It needs to be a max of 58, so if it comes in less or over. And
So
12.5
58
for the
from
well.
12.5. What's that come up to?
70,500 total.
75,500.
70,500.
Okay. Motion by Steve, second by Charlie, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
And yes, you know.
Thanks for your efforts in putting that together. It really looks nice, and you guys are always doing something, I appreciate
Yep,
that.
try to keep it up, so
Yeah,
it's
and I hear good things.
So, thank you very much.
Doesn't matter.
Coming in.
Taking that action.
Eugene?
One thing since we're on ARPA, because I had asked for a printout from Angel, this is mostly for Angel, so we should be here today. But make a note to her, 300,000 that the board approved a few meetings ago for the EMA radios. They need to be on that list. And they actually felt the money we were using was going to be money that we initially thought we could use for revenue, lost revenue. So that would be the column, it would be number 1 column.
Lost revenue?
Yeah, they replaced that out of that column. We didn't take away from any of our other priorities. Okay, thanks.
Jason here from ThinkSpace? Okay, there he is.
Good morning.
Oh, okay. Either you guys are moving or my schedule is wrong.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody back?
Good.
Sit in the hot seat. It's been a while. So nothing major,
What are we talking about today?
just general status.
Okay, cool.
You know, we told you we'd give you guys regular status updates and go from there. So this is the normal quarterly that we do. Just if you ever want an updated quarterly, just request it, we'll get it to you. Nothing major that we've been hit with. This has actually been a pretty good year. We have everything pretty solid. The only issues we've had are with a little bit of user training, that kind of deal, but my guys are working on that and Taryn's working on that. So we've had a few.
That getting worked out?
Yeah, it's virus issues and that kind of deal where people are clicking on stuff they shouldn't be.
More and more of that, holy cow, I'm
There it
clicking on
is.
stuff I shouldn't be, I know that.
So the only things that we're gearing up for is for next fiscal, getting that stuff going. So we have a few purchases we do need to make. One of them is a new server. We don't need to buy a whole new bank of servers, it's just a single server because of the way we designed it. So we'll just update one server and then every year we'll just update one server.
How many
So,
servers do we have?
4 right now. And they're set up in what's called a cluster. So they all act like one big server, but they're all there in case, one fails.
4 is enough.
It rolls. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're adequately stacked at this point. We don't need to do any major expenditures, to be honest. And we're happy that we got you there.
Even with all the new stuff that's coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We're on top of it. A couple things that we've been having problems with, and Taryn's well aware, been working on monitors. We just got a lot of 10, 15-year-old monitors throughout the courthouse and throughout the county. They're just not compatible anymore. The new stuff talks at a much faster rate than the old monitors can handle, so we're having monitors just wink out, fail, hardware pieces failing because of it, that kind of deal. Not a major expenditure, but it's something that we need to start cycling through. Been working with Taryn on that, and as we have budget and that kind of deal, we'll just get those monitors pushed out. Not a big issue.
Price really high because of supply right now? Or?
Price is higher because of supply, but not that much. We're looking at maybe about 5-10% increases all, so it's not terrible. But getting your hands on them is difficult. Yeah, it's difficult. So those are the primary things that we've been hitting. We're also looking at upgrading a bunch of UPSs under the desk type units, surge protection type stuff. And that's really all we're looking at for expenditures maybe this year. Other than that, things are going really well. Something my team's been asking for and kicking around is maybe upgrading our content filtering on email a little bit. But that would be a requirement of buying a package to do that. And I'll be working with Taryn here in the next, couple months or so, talking about options. It would help us get rid of those spear phishing attacks, which are getting through right now, which is what we got hit with. It really didn't impact the systems at all. We caught it, we dealt with it. Everything was status quo within a very, very short amount of time. So our system is incredibly resilient. So I'm not worried about it, but future-proofing, they're getting better. I mean, these email folks make billions of dollars a year, and they're good at what they do. So
Most of what we've seen so far is not anything real harmful. It's more just phishing type stuff.
No, there's actually some stuff that's harmful that
Okay.
we've caught on the backside where they've done the phishing type thing. But what that does is it puts in a little sleeper software. And what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to go out and scan our network, figure out vulnerabilities, build up to a big attack.
Gotcha.
And then they take us down. And then at that point we get the letter saying, hey, for $500,000 we'll fix you.
For 1 Bitcoin.
Yeah, or a billion Bitcoins, yeah. Please send us $500,000 in
So
gift cards.
we have seen that and we've caught it.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. We've seen it fairly often and have caught it every single time so far. But
Scary.
we're constantly, it's a constant fight. It really is. But my team's on top of it and spend a lot of time cleaning things up, dealing with it. That's what we're here for. So, other than that, that's all I really have, unless you can think of
Do you
something
have
I
any
missed, Terrence.
concerns or
I
things
don't
you
think
think
so.
need to be addressed?
I mean, we're pretty well caught up on life cycles and
Yep.
that, so that's why we're gonna start the new monitor.
Karen's the head of our IT department.
We had started to talk to Cody out there about cameras and, well, Brandon, I'm looking at you.
Oh, yeah.
We did the cameras, he gave us a bid for cameras out at the landfill. And we got to talking about changes we can make here. I think you guys have talked to him. What became of that?
I was not directly involved in that project. I had
Okay.
one of my staffers dealing with it.
Okay.
The last thing I know is we've updated the camera software in the jail to where it belongs. We can merge everything into one central system if we wish.
Okay.
And it won't be a huge expenditure, but I mean, at that point, somebody could hop in and look at any of the cameras in the county from a single point.
Wasn't the one issue was we would have to rewire everything?
They've started, Camden was looking into that, and he thinks that the wire is already here in place with the existing cameras, because we think they ran standard computer cable. If they did that, then we don't have to worry about rewiring. We may have to upgrade cameras and controllers and that kind of deal, but that would be the major expenditure. So it would be a cost to make it happen.
Well, go ahead, Alex.
I just had one thing.
Yes.
He was talking about servers, doesn't directly involve ThinkSpace, but I know Mark and I had worked on it earlier this year, I think, putting gas fire suppression in the server rooms. I know Mark was looking at using a grant for it, and I don't think that ever came to fruition, so I'm just wondering how we want to.
And what was the cost gonna be on something like
I
that?
think it was around 15 or 20,000 to get it set up. At this point, I think we should probably get a new couple quotes, because it's been a while, but I didn't know how we wanted to go about paying for that, if it was gonna come out of building and grounds, if it was gonna be cost share with the
Probably
EMA.
would.
Okay,
Little expenditure.
I think originally
Or
it
maybe
was said
our-
to come out of buildings and grounds.
I think so, yeah.
Communications
So-
system going.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it would qualify. I mean, we could make it qualify for that if we've got much. but-
If we have enough, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just something that we probably need to get the ball rolling on now at this point, especially with Super News.
Were we gonna do both those rooms, or just?
We're gonna do the radio room and
Okay.
then the server room.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would recommend, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
Get something put
yeah,
together.
Yeah, get it.
Get something put together.
Don't let it just drop.
yeah, no, I'll go get a couple more quotes and bring it back to you guys, but I know that
Where
was
the money
something.
comes from is, might be up in the air, but we gotta get it done, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll have something for you guys for the next meeting, so.
Okay, but I will, back to this other deal, the way this came about, like I say, is he was putting in cameras for us out at the landfill, and he says, we don't even need a server out there, we could centralize all your servers, and actually, we could do it for secondary roads and everybody, so that it's all just here, and you wouldn't need the storage at each site.
Right.
And he said it would be in conjunction with Farmers Mutual, they've got a program going with their phone systems, and I didn't stay on top of it, because I didn't, I'm not IT, I don't understand half of it, but I said, let's look into it, and so I kind of turned it over to Taryn and to talk with ThinkSpace, and I will reach out to him again, I guess, and see what he feels, but,
I'll have my team circle back to
Okay.
Taryn as
Yeah.
well, just so
Because we
we're
were-
on the same page.
we also were looking at getting outside cameras for the perimeter of the building, since we got a drop box out there now, and it's the day of the camera. We want to watch everybody, so. So I will reach out on that. And other than that, I think we're good here.
Where are we at? Are you involved with our website at all?
No. We update the old one, but we were not involved in the new one.
Where are we at with that?
The construction website is still up, but the new website is active also. And last I was told, it was supposed to be done by the first of the year.
Will it,
So there's-
you think?
Looking at it, I would say no. There are certain department pages that are on there and live. I know Melissa's been putting all the board minutes on there, so those
Okay.
are all available. Last I checked, back to 2016. She might have more on there now. Job postings are active on there. I don't remember what department pages, but there's,
Like the tax records, like when you hook up to Beacon and you can get all that information, is that
I don't
link
think
on there?
I don't think the link's on there. The link's still on the temporary site.
Okay.
Would you reach out to them and say the board like an update when they
Yep.
feel they're gonna be completed?
It's been about a year now, hasn't it, since we
Yeah, it'll
started
be-
this project?
It'll be a year.
And it wasn't supposed to take this long.
So how
So,
that goes?
Yeah, all projects right on schedule every day.
any other questions?
I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You guys know where to find me?
All right.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I have one.
Yes.
Where are we at with our contract?
Basically, we're still on a continuance
Okay.
system on the contract, as far as I know.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be another continuance this year, and then we'll probably have a complete revision the following year.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Okay. Does
So-
that sound
Are
right to
you
you?
talking costs?
Well, just, I know, didn't we start with a 3 or 4 year contract?
We have 5.
5,
yeah.
okay.
Okay,
I
so
didn't know
the
where
price
that
is
was at.
locked in for another year, is what you're saying? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Like I said, the only things that will be changing will be some minor things that we're already working around. Microsoft had a major price hike in their 365 platform. We're working right now to get you guys shuffled over to, I believe, the Gov, because the Gov didn't get hit with the price increase. Won't be anything any users will notice. It's just a matter of going from this Microsoft server to that Microsoft server. That's the difference.
And are they going from 10 to 11 or 11 to 12 or something like that as well on?
Desktop 10, or desktop 11, yes. So that is going to be a slow migration. There's really no major rush to move to 11 at this point.
Is it a free upgrade?
For some, not all. It all depends on what licensing you have and that kind of deal. So it'll be more a matter of as machines cycle out, we'll probably look at the new machines will have 11 on it. And then probably in about a year or so, this will be a next year project, we'll start talking about, okay, what's it gonna take to start moving people to 11? But in our experience, especially with county software, we try not to move too quickly because we'll surpass what the software can handle. And then all of a sudden, nobody can work anymore.
10 works good now anyway.
Yeah,
so-
10 works fine.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it, folks.
Thank you.
Courthouse grounds use application Roaring to Harlan for the 2022 season. Got that in front of you. I think Seth Johansson took over the project now or is chairing it.
Yep.
I know one,
They've did this in the past.
yeah.
Yep.
And I guess I don't know if Mark said.
Do you have a copy in your?
Yeah, I did somewhere.
Yeah, we annually apply for this every year, and the Chamber of Commerce includes the Roaring to Harlan events in our general liability that we have for the square. So whether it's Roaring to Harlan, Harvest Fest, as those events take place on the square, we've got a liability insurance that just covers the actual grounds of the square.
Yeah, we did this in the past. It's May, coming this year, May 19th, June 16th, July 21st, August 18th, and September 15th.
One thing I know that Seth did ask us about was having the courthouse open for restrooms, which we've never done in the past.
Never have done that in the past, no.
Seemed, Mark said it's somewhere in our,
Yeah, we had an issue there some time ago, and that's why that was put in our policy.
Yeah, and in actuality, what we hope is that, they're supposed to not only be intermingling with the event, they're supposed to be intermingling with the downtown businesses that are open.
We'd rather have them go in there anyway. Okay. Yeah, because it didn't sound like a good idea to me.
Yeah, we had some issues
The
there.
thing
Okay.
is,
Not that they would,
they
but
could wander all the way through the courthouse.
Okay, well, like I say, I think it's still in the policy. That's where Seth found it, that we would supply. And we need, if it's still in there, we need to get that changed.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, yes, do we have a motion to allow?
so moved.
Motion by Steve, second by Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to allow them to use the property
Been a nice
grounds.
event that's grown over the
Yes.
years.
It has, and it continues to adjust. I think Seth's done a wonderful job.
What is it, a 4-time?
Yeah, 4 or 5. I can't remember if there's one in September or not. But and the last one of the year is always does some fundraising for veterans, and so we're able to do some gas cards and some other things through that to help them like get over to the VA for medical services and that type of thing. So it's really a good thing.
Anything to bring them in?
Yeah.
Okay, you're up, Todd. Chamber update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
This will be quick. Along the lines of chamber stuff, this is our, continuing our holiday celebrations this week. So Thursday night, we'll be at the Shelby County Museum for Santa in the Cabins, and that'll run from 5 to 7. Have Santa in one of the historic cabins over there for the kids to visit with. And then on Saturday,
How do you get him booked so often?
well,
He must have a lot of free
we've got
time.
a really nice spare bedroom, and he, it's comfortable, and it gives him a little break, to get away from the elves for a couple days. So, so Saturday he'll be hanging out with us too.
Okay.
He'll be coming in, and that's the day that we do Santa Claus is Coming to Town. So we go to different communities throughout Shelby County, take Santa there for photo opportunities and to talk with the kids. And then at each location, we have a stocking full of toys, and the kids will put their names into a bin, and Santa will draw a name. So at each location, a child will win the stocking. So a lot of great support and sponsorship for that. We really appreciate all the help that the community businesses give us on that one. On the economic development side, we were talking earlier about daycare as being a focus, and maybe some ways to look at ARPA there. If you saw that daycare challenge grant that went out from the governor's office, it went out the second week in November, and the applications were due this week. We've been looking really hard at it to see if there was something we could do with it. The difficulties were, first of all, we had to find a financial partner to back the project, and we had to have every dollar of the cost of the project in a bank account. And then the way that they set this grant up would be, as we expended money, kind of very similar, almost like, say, to a hotel motel. We would spend the money, turn in the receipts, and then they'd reimburse us. And so, for one project we were looking at, the cost estimate came back to be about $300,000. So we knew we weren't going to have $300,000 in a bank account anywhere anytime soon.
You had to have it all. You
had to have
just
it all.
150.
No, you had to have it all. So there are other opportunities out there. Again, there's other ways that we can go about it. This is just that challenge grant that came out. Just as kind of with some of the other projects, if you weren't shovel ready and really already pretty much ready to go, you'd already figured out other ways to finance it, and then this grant just became a pleasant surprise, that you could roll things over to. So we're still working on putting some stuff together. And like I said, we will have an application to ARPA. I'm just looking for other ways, kind of like I mentioned with Darren, where what we're actually going to be asking for maybe is a match to help us use a larger grant to do the project. So that's what we're kind of focusing on right now.
Spread their dollars out that way.
It does, and then it also, it'll give us a chance, what we have right now, the idea we have would give us a chance to possibly, if we could find employees, would give us a chance to add some second shift daycare to it. So, which,
Can you tell, you wanna tell us a little bit about what you were trying to plan there, or?
not yet.
Just, okay, that's fine.
But, yeah, so it's one of those things where we're all in agreement that we think there's a need, you know, so we need to get something and we'll see, you know, it's better to get something going and then just add to it if we need to, if we find out that we haven't done quite enough. So those are the things we're doing this week.
Any luck on finding a building for, are we still,
Well,
or is that,
in regards to the manufacturing company, no. There's really just nothing out there and available. We are still discussing, you know, working with them on finding an opportunity for them to build the suit. And they did mention during our conversations that it's not that it would be impossible for them to stay where they are until,
okay, so they haven't made any decisions yet, at least?
no. And then also working on a opportunity, you know, like I said, we had kind of a 3-step process. 2 of the steps have taken place where the college and the city have come to an agreement on the building that the college will be buying the north end of and expanding the CTE training. Farm Table Delivery was able to relocate into another facility. The 3rd step is to help concerned with another outside location. It's not an immediate need, but they need to move some of their vocational education out of their building. It's just requirements at the federal and state level are changing. And as part of that, we'd also be looking at trying to get redemption center put in place. So I found
And run by them, or?
correct.
Okay.
I found a building I think is gonna work. It's gonna need a lot of remodeling. So now we're trying to see if we can find money to remodel.
Can I ask, did you guys ever, this deal with the Shopko building, did that ever get approved at the city for rezoning, or?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that whole project's moving.
So it's moving forward, okay. I hadn't heard anything about it, so I just, okay.
yeah, there was the ordinance change that allowed for churches, chapels, daycares into B3, which is essentially a highway business.
And they are gonna use the whole building,
Yeah,
is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
yeah, they've got,
so that opens up that building.
in general, yeah, our understanding was that there was, they're purchasing the Shopko building, there's already somebody who is purchasing their location. The person who's purchasing their location has told them, you know, we understand it's gonna take you a little while to remodel and get, to be able to move, so I believe their gentleman's agreement was roughly a year, you know, to be able to do the work over at the Shopko building they need to be able to relocate, and then the other person who's purchasing their building will come in and do their thing.
Very good. Any other questions?
All right, thank you, sir. Thanks.
Bryce is not here, is that correct?
No,
Okay, so number 10, it just says Shelby County employees have achieved 100% participation in the wellness program. Consideration for those eligible employees who received county insurance coverage yearly
and
for the achievement. I don't know, am I not reading this? Consideration for those eligible employees who received county insurance, which they were getting $100, and we already approved that, right? Okay,
If we get 100%.
okay, which we did, right?
Yep.
So the insurance coverage yearly, I don't understand this sentence at all, for the achievement.
He incorporated the health insurance rates are gonna be going down 0.5%
Okay,
for next year.
And I checked
Because of the
last week,
100%.
they're already on the checks
okay.
to our employees.
That's awesome too, because health insurance is not,
Kudos to Bryce, he's done a really good job of staying on top with the employees and reminders, and, because there's quite a few hoops to fall through, it just doesn't, if you qualify, there's quite a few things you have to do, so, and physicals,
He's been doing a good job.
yep, and all the employees, everybody.
so is this really an action item? Didn't we already approve
So
that?
the 100% participation
We need to-
gives the county the 5%
Authority.
discount for the the next year.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're approving the $100 to the employees for reaching that 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, but I thought we already approved, I thought if
Well, we
didn't
set that.
Yeah.
And now we're saying they can go
Okay,
ahead with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Charlie. Second by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And we receive a 0.5%
Right.
discount for our overall health insurance.
I just thought
Because of that.
when we made that motion back when, that if they met the 100%, it was this automatic, but, so I didn't know we needed to do it again, but anyway, secondary road report, Mr. Brandon.
Good morning.
And I think we get a 5% discount on insurance. It's not half.
You're right.
It's 1%.
Thank you.
That's the period, that's probably, yeah, that's a period at the end of the sentence.
It's 1% tied to like 5 different levels, and
Okay.
we achieved all 5, so.
Okay.
So on our agenda, the first is resolution 2021-40. I sent you guys an email, slurry leveling lead, the last time we had a meeting, November 17th, I believe. Denko Highway was the low bid, it was about 300,000. Our estimate was about 260, but with how stuff's going up, I still believe we should do the project. Get everything slurry leveled. So
What'd you say the total is?
300,000, it's 298.
Okay.
And change, so about 300,000 to do M16, F32, and F58 portions of each one. Basically, the resolution is to approve them getting the contract, and it also allows me to sign the contract on your behalf because we have a new system, and getting you guys onto the system, it's cumbersome. So basically, the DOT sends out this boilerplate resolution to approve the project as let and allow the county
Allowed you to
engineer
sign for it. Okay. Do we have a motion for that?
Motion approved.
Second by Charlie, second by Steve. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The other item on the agenda I have is to approve the plans for F58 from the west city limits of Elkhorn to Ottoman County. I've been working with them to do in town, and then we're going to extend it over to Ottoman County on our portion. And we approved a 2080, 2 or 3 months ago to kind of set up how the costs are paid for. And then last meeting, we amended the 5-year plan for project length and costs. So these are the final plans that they'll be available anytime.
Is that all it is a mile and a half?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's about 3/4 of a mile that's ours and 3/4 of a mile that's in town, so.
Okay.
And when will that be let?
It will be let in March 15th. We pay for all of F58 east of town, and we split costs on the center 22 feet in town, and then there you have some additional work on sidewalks and stuff that Elkhorn will be responsible for, and how all that gets paid for is called out for in the 2080. So.
Motion on that.
Motion approved.
Motion by Charlie.
Second.
Second by Steve, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I guess brief update from me. We had Kirk Michael in, about 2 months ago to do some load testing on some concrete bridges that were posted. And good news, the 2 that we had tested actually rated out as legal, so we can remove the signs from them. Some of them heavier loads, they're obscure as to how to rate it. It's pretty limited on the paper rating, but they actually take a strain gauge and epoxy it to the beam, and we take one of our trucks and run it over the bridge at a set speed with a set weight, and they measure it, and we're able to remove 2 load ratings, so feel good about that. Kind of the drawback is they have to be all concrete bridges. They can't have steel beams or anything like that, so some of our longer river structures have steel beams that are different standards, so trying to figure out a way to see if we can get those load tested, maybe improve their load rating or remove it, but been working with Kirk and Michael, and we'll continue to see if they can do anything for us. Another problem is you have to glue them in the middle of the beam, and you got to figure out a way to get up there over the Nishnabah.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult. They don't really want to stand on a ladder
Hang over
with
the
someone
edge and
holding
swing.
it. Yeah.
So how old are these bridges that you did have take the weight rating off of?
Mid-70s.
Oh.
So they're 50 years old probably. I mean, still in
Good
pretty
shape,
darn
they're
good shape. Both of them that we removed it, they're not on pavement, so they're not seeing salt during the winter. But they're good bridges in good shape.
Good.
And it's nice to remove the weight
Yeah.
rating. I mean, if nothing else, we get to remove 4 more signs out of the country, so that's a good thing. Got a lot of the guys in the shop today. When IMWCA came in, we've got an overhead crane in the shop that they requested that we get training on. So anyone who will use it at any time, all the motor grader guys are in there. They use it to put wings on their machines, and some of the truck drivers are in there, and then the shop personnel are in there too. Like we talked earlier, Steve, I think stockpiling's about done for the year, and Denison's probably done with it getting cold. I'll talk to Chad, the salesman, see if they would bring one more next week, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's supposed to get warm again.
Right.
Okay.
Working on budgeting. I won't be here the 16th. Got an engineers conference in the next week, so I'll be gone for that. And then in the next month or two, I'm going to be bringing updates to the utility oil and entrance policy. The utility policy, it just needs to be updated. It was done probably 30 years ago. There's some things that have changed. The oil policy, I think we need more teeth in it when we can tear up oil. It's just got too much leeway in it. We can kind of get blown off on people fixing their oil. It creates, we're in the middle of a bad situation. And then with the entrance policy, we need to amend the site distance. It's not consistent with what AASHTO recommendations are.
Okay.
So we're too high on pavement and too low on gravel. So I think it just needs to be 500 feet on both and call it good.
Okay.
So that's all I have for today.
How's the stream mitigation of Hurley coming?
Oh, we're digging. It's a lot of dirt, but we're coming along. We're kind of doing it where, hopefully we don't get froze out sooner
Had a
than
couple
we
nice
should.
weeks here.
We have. And we're kind
Had
of
to be doing other things on nice weeks, though, wouldn't you?
Well, but we're coming on it. I mean, it's just a lot of
Is
digging.
the water staying down for you?
Yep, we
Okay.
actually cut a hole in the end of it and put some straw wattles. We ordered some erosion control and put some of that down. So there's a lot of groundwater up there, kind of remarkably, but
Okay.
we started on the outlet side and it's just draining out as it goes. So we're slowly but surely getting it. It's just,
How many more working days you think you have?
oh boy, I'd hate to even guess.
I mean, you got more than a couple weeks yet? Maybe
Probably 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But we'll get it. Just
Well, 'cause you're not going full-time on it, are you? I mean, is there somebody out there every day, all day?
Oh yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we've probably got 6 guys out there all day, every day.
After we get the dirt done, then we've got to feather stuff. I mean, it's.
Well, we're
it's-
getting most of that done.
As you-
The main channel out to 60 feet is completely done. And then we can come at the end and cut off the little triangles at the end. That shouldn't
Okay.
take too long. Then we'll get the riprap placed and Nick can get it seeded, so.
Okay.
How's Bruce, by the way?
Yeah, not something to talk about right now, Charlie, but we can catch up after the board meeting.
The training you said you were having on the crane, I failed to mention that on the last meetings, they came and did a little inspection, and guys did really good. They had to hunt hard to find things that they wanted them to change, but that was one of them.
Yep.
And,
And just searching for clarification on
Yep.
cranes and, when they first come, everyone needs a 4-day training in Des Moines, no questions asked, and then when you get into it, it's, someone can come down and give you a day training and.
but kudos to your shop, the safety is obviously
No, yeah,
very important.
Doug does a really good job
Yep.
with that and keeps everything picked up. And, yeah.
Now, I know that we talked about some new yak tracks, because they had a grant, or they were giving them out. Did we,
We talked about that at the last safety meeting. kind of what we're running with right now is if we applied for that safety grant, we would probably get it, but we'd have to put a policy in place.
They have to
And
be war.
then they would have to be war at all times. And the policy was, or the grant would be a one-time, so then everybody would be on their own to buy them in the future. Bryce was gonna check and see what other counties were doing. I think it would be a good thing.
As long as you didn't have to wear them all the time.
Well, I read the policy, their sample policy, and I don't know if it really,
Background is they have tried these before and it doesn't work real well in a lot of situations where they're in mud and it just cakes up on these yak tracks.
we tried one of them and they failed.
Yeah.
The kind that we tried, they came recommended by another person at NWCA, and guys ruined them in a day.
Yeah.
And they were $50 a pair, so.
So it's a good idea, it's just that they don't work for everybody, so.
Right, and I think we're gonna check and see what everybody else does and kind of talk with.
I can't remember, what was that grant for? It was
No, it was
$50,000.
It was significant, yeah. But
Okay. And it was for everybody, it was courthouse employees, it was all departments,
it would pertain to all county employees.
so. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
Number 11 on the agenda, opioid litigation resolution, 2021-39 consideration. Did he have anything for you to read or anything? Do you want to?
No.
Do you want to?
Basically
yeah,
what this
Marcus.
is this is as a result of the settlement, the opioid settlements. And there was negotiations between the county's attorney and the Attorney General's office to come up with an allocation formula to all the counties as well as the state. They've all agreed to that, and now each county has to approve that settlement and that allocation. And that's what you have in front of you.
Our problem was, or what Mark is coming up with, is that our county would only come up with, no, he said the state. The state was only getting like $17,000 or $170,000.
Our share.
Our share.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I don't know, I haven't figured the amounts.
So all we're approving is, through this resolution, is the formula, how they're gonna distribute it?
Well, you're approving the settlement, you're agreeing to the settlement that was reached, and you're agreeing to the allocation. Now, the negotiation that was between the county's council and the Attorney General's office.
Okay, so we're approving that, but we're not saying that, yes, we will take it, or that we're going to give it back to the state, because that was, the dollar amount was so small, but the hoops to jump through were so intense at the county level that it wasn't worth Mark's time, basically, to.
Yeah, and I don't know what Mark is, I don't know what his involvement is, man,
I just can't imagine it'd be that small.
Yeah, because they want, there's like
Well, it's,
several
the
billion.
He
settlement
does have
throughout
it.
the whole country, so.
A note on here that says 173,000 for the whole state divided by 99
Yeah,
counties.
that could be, I don't know, I haven't looked at
I mean, the settlement was like $4 to $8 billion, somewhere in there. I mean, you
Well-
divide that by 50 states, that,
Yeah, and I don't know how, again, that's.
I know
part of it.
lawyers get a lot, but.
Well, yeah, but a lot of it's the entire country, and so some states were hit a lot worse than Iowa.
Okay,
West Virginia, Ohio, those states were hit
yeah.
pretty
We can make that
significantly.
determination as we move forward too.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we're not really,
Locked.
we're not approving that we're keeping it, or we're just approving that we,
That you agree.
Agree to their- okay, okay.
So that we can get it settled
All right.
and move forward.
that'd be fine. So I have a
I'll make
motion
that
on that.
motion.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by
Thanks for
Charlie.
the clarification.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of Lonnie McGuire, she's not here today, as decategorization board representative for Shelby County. And Steve said he really wants to explain that to us.
Yeah, right. I would,
She's been on this board for a long time.
yeah, but I really can't say what
We don't,
it all does.
yeah. I
And I
got
was
this.
gonna ask her some of those questions.
I never heard of it before, so, but she's been on it. All we're doing is approving her to continue on that board, so
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Steve.
I'll second it, but I'm also gonna reach out to Lonnie.
Yeah, to
If I
get
have
more-
some concerns, I'll bring it back to you. Okay?
Your concern wouldn't be that she's on the board though,
No.
so you're okay with this?
No, I'm just wondering why we have to continue to do this, because I was under the understanding when the mental health region started
That
that
this wouldn't be.
this would go away. So I was just
Okay.
wondering why it's still going,
Okay.
so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else? Public or otherwise? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.